Hello, I'm Dr. Glenn Richardson. I'm Senior Lecturer in History at St Mary's University College, which is in London, in Twickenham in London. And I am the author of a number of books and articles on Tudor history. And one which I want to show you is this one, Renaissance Monarchy, the reigns of Henry VIII, Francis I and Charles V, which came out a few years ago. And so I look at Henry VIII very much from a European perspective and compare him with the other monarchs that were around at the time. And the particular question which I'm wanting to address at the moment is who was more important in directing foreign policy from 1515 to 1529, Henry VIII or Wolsey? And I know this is a question which gets asked at A-levels, and to me it's always struck me as a bit of an odd question, because it's impossible to separate the two of them in some ways. You can't really have one without the other. Henry VIII would not have been the king he was in that period without Wolsey. Equally, Wolsey would have been nothing without Henry VIII. So they operate as a sort of partnership, really. And the particular focus of the question is directing foreign policy. And again, perhaps we might like to think about what does that mean. There's different ways of defining directing. If you think about a modern company, there's the chief executive, the managing director, who's responsible for the actual running of the organization, making policy decisions, implementing initiatives, hiring, firing. Of course, a lot of that's delegated to other people, but they're responsible. And then on top of them, you've got somebody like the chairman of the board, who is notionally responsible for what the company does and doesn't get involved necessarily in all the day-to-day organisation or setting that up, but is responsible to the shareholders for what actually goes on. And that sort of works, I think, as a reasonably good analogy for the way Henry and Wolsey work together in foreign policy. Because it's definitely Henry it's Henry's aims that are important. Wolsey wasn't the King of England, it was Henry. So what Henry wanted to do is first and foremost important. And whether that was going to war with France, or, as would happen, having his marriage annulled, it was Henry's priorities and Henry's needs which drove all policy within England in the monarchy, and in particular foreign policy.